So let's head over to the SEC East. And Brad, Kentucky comes off of a bad loss against Georgia this past weekend. The 5-1 Missouri Tigers go on the road to take on the number 24 Kentucky Wildcats. This is an SEC East classic, Brad. 7:30 kickoff on SEC Network, and this is one of my favorite matchups of the week. Two blue blood programs going at it that really haven't had much success in the past few years. Eli Drinkwitz fighting for the hot seat, trying to have a better year this year. He's proven himself so far, losing in a heartbreaker last week against LSU. You almost wonder, they had the lead. They were winning in that game for a long time. LSU was able to come back and pull away with that. Very disappointing. But Brandon Cook having a great year for the Tigers. We talked about him last week. Over 1,800 yards, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. On the other side, Devin Leary, more of a lackluster performance this year than what we really expected from him that we've seen in the past. Injuries might have played a role in it. 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Run game has looked powerful for both of these teams. Schrader for Mizzou, 577 yards on 6 touchdowns. And you mention all the time Ray Davis and how great of a back he is. He's going to be one heck of a back at the next level. 653 yards, 8 touchdowns. Then you look at the receiving corps. Burden for Missouri, 793 yards, 5 touchdowns. Just having an excellent year. Brad, this is going to be a great matchup. I'm sorry, but this is going to be such a good one. Kentucky actually favored in this one by 2.5 points, and ESPN gives Kentucky a 55.8% chance to win this game. Kentucky comes back at home. Can they bounce back, Brad, and get a win against Missouri?
Nate, this is possibly the battle for the second best team in the East. I know Tennessee's still in there, but I think these two teams are really, really good. I've been impressed with Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz, you mentioned him, has really taken himself off of the hot seat. Brady Cook is playing great ball. I mean, you can make an argument he's a top 3 quarterback in the SEC. Nate, I'm going with the Missouri Tigers, and I'm going with them really for one big reason. We saw Georgia's receiving corps, primarily Marcus Rosemy-Jackson and Brock Bowers, light up Kentucky's secondary. And Luther Burden is every bit as talented as those two guys. Luther Burden, you mentioned him. What a year this guy's having. Has a chance to go over 8. He should go over 800 yards this week, maybe get even close to 900. He is, I think, going to toast the Kentucky secondary. I think Brady Cook has a good game. Nate, I want to get your thoughts. Devin Leary, we both mentioned him. I think you picked him out, or one of us picked him out as a transfer portal impact guy. He has not looked good to me. Very inaccurate. Has just, he missed a couple of passes last week that could have been big plays for Kentucky that, I'm not saying they would have made it closer, but could have put another score to it. But Devin Leary has not looked good this year. I don't know if it's the transition to the SEC or what, but want to get your thoughts on him, and I'll turn it over to you, but give me the Missouri Tigers Saturday night.
Yeah, I think it really boils down to more of a mental than a physical attribute. I think mentally he's just not there. He's got the offensive power. He's got Ray Davis to lean on in the run game. He's got some pretty good wide receivers. Like you mentioned, he missed some really open receivers against Georgia last week. I mean, really open that honestly could have been touchdowns. I'm not saying they would have won that game, but you're talking about a 14-point swing, and next thing you know, you're back in the game, because that's before Georgia even runs away with it. But yeah, and I think a combination of that and the offensive line, I just don't think the offensive line for Kentucky has been there like Devin Leary is used to. As far as this game goes, this has been a really tough one for me to decide, because I think Kentucky's still a very solid team. I think they have a lot of talent. We talk about Ray Davis a lot. We mention him over and over again, and what he's able to do against some of these SEC defenses. But in the end, I'm taking the Missouri Tigers as well. I just think Brandon Cook, he's so underrated. He really is. I would take him over a lot of quarterbacks in college football right now. Poised, he's accurate, 135 of 188, almost 2,000 yards. He's at 1879 right now, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, as I mentioned a minute ago. And then you look at the run game, Schrader. I mean, he's just as good of a running back as Ray Davis. I think they're different styles, but man, is he good. So give me the Missouri Tigers and what I think is going to be a close game. But yeah, for the SEC East, that's going to be an interesting matchup nonetheless.